to join us for this important event. And before I hand over to the Secretary General to take over the program, allow me to inform all of us that we have interpretation services. If you can kindly click the button that is below your screen, it is written interpretation. Kindly click and it will give you two options, English or French. Then you can choose the preferred language. You are also kindly requested to mute your microphones unless you have been given the floor to speak. And with those few words, allow me to welcome the Secretary General, Mr. John Omo, to make some welcoming remarks and to take up the program. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alice, and participants, ladies and gentlemen, Honorable Minister, thank you once again for favoring us with your time. We don't take it for granted. I'll just go through my remarks very briefly, and then we get on with the rest of the business. So Chief Guest of Honor, Honorable Dr. Per Mshelenga, Minister of Information and Communications Technology of the Republic of Namibia, the ITU representative, who is the Deputy Director of Telecommunications Development, Steve Bureau, title sponsor, Steve Chen, the Vice President of Huawei Southern African Region, a gold sponsor, Dr. Bienvenu Soglo, Government and Policy Director for Africa for Intel. Distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to welcome all of you to the second edition of the ATU Africa Innovation Challenge 2021. We particularly are honored to have with us the Minister of ICT of Namibia, who out of his busy schedule found time to grace this important event. I do remember last year during our Africa ATU Day, the Minister also favored us with his time, and we are so grateful to the people of Namibia and the government and the Minister in particular. Now, as a union, we feel honored that today we do not have to undergo a long process of introduction because we have the privilege of retaining and having amongst us our partners from last year's inauguration challenge. To Huawei, our title sponsor of the challenge, and Intel, the International Telecommunications Union, thank you for opening your doors once again to us and by every extension to the young people in Africa for which this event belongs. I know and we do appreciate the fact that it is not easy to convince your organizations, your leadership to be part of this program 2 years in a row. Once it is reasonable, because perhaps we needed to persuade them that what we were doing was aligned to your various organizations' interest and reasonable strategic degree. But a second time, however, you have truly proved that you have the interest of African youth at heart, and so we do very much appreciate that fact. Equally to us, at the internal level, we understand from the very onset that every idea is subjected to practical realities. Therefore, we did not launch this competition last year as an experiment. We looked forward to assessing its functionality in the real world. And the real world came back to us with lessons, important lessons for that matter, that we have since learned from. The real world also came back to us with certain approvals and requests. A combination of the two subsequently allowed us to rethink our model for this year's challenge and to align the theme of this challenge to what is really going on globally, and hence the important role that the ITU will play in this regard, which is to audit the ecosystem in which innovativeness of our youth is predicated, and to see how it contributes either positively or negatively to the development of innovation, and to see how we can improve it on it in that regard. Now, this year's challenge therefore recognizes the importance of digital innovation and the need for an enabling environment to tackle the challenges facing the youth in Africa. We thank the International Telecommunications Union for partnering with us in developing the concept. Together, we felt that there's need to move slightly away from the innovator and instead work out a path that ensures that the innovator has an environment that truly responds to their everyday needs at a more institutionalized level. And so this year, we are calling for submissions from the ecosystem stakeholders, such as regulatory authorities, entrepreneurial support organizations, incubators, accelerators, or any institutions such as schools, colleges, universities from Africa, with programs and policies that focus on creating an environment for the youth to develop their ideas. This year's challenge comes at a time when the impact of COVID-19 on communities is becoming more and more visible. The youth are among the most vulnerable to this impact, facing challenges such as socioeconomic and workforce inclusion. At the same time, COVID-19 has disproportionately affected young people, with many finding themselves out of school and excluded from economic and social lives. Amongst these youth are innovators who are solution owners but lack fundamental resources to drive their ideas. We do believe as a union that if such talents are exposed to some of the best practices in Africa and indeed the rest of the world, their capacity to grow and in turn develop the continent will be felt. On 28th of September, when we meet here for the award ceremony that will recognize the best youth supporting ecosystem stakeholders of the year in Africa, as well as showcase some of their innovations, it is my hope indeed that we will have every reason to agree that we trod the right path for this edition of our Innovation Challenge. And so with these remarks, allow me to once again thank you for your time and your kindness in sharing some of your resources with us. And do look forward to a fruitful launch of the ATU Africa Innovation Challenge 2021 in partnership with the ITU, Intel, and our title sponsor, Huawei. And so with these remarks, allow me to recognize the presence once again of Steve Bureau from the ITU and ask him to share his thoughts with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John, and good morning, Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. As mentioned, I am the Deputy to the Director of the Telecommunication Development Bureau, and it's my great pleasure to represent the Director, Ms. Doreen Bogdan-Martin, at this opening ceremony of the 2021 edition of the ATU Africa Innovation Challenge, which again, ITU is proud and pleased to partner with ATU in. Innovation has been formally recognized as a priority for ITU membership since the World Telecommunication Development Conference in Dubai in 2014. And one of the BDT's key thematic priorities, our digital innovation ecosystems, aims to empower members to unlock their digital potential, to build their capacity and capabilities in innovation and entrepreneurship, and to accelerate their ecosystem's impact on cross-cutting sectors for an inclusive society. The most recent Regional Development Forum for the Africa region for ITU members reinforced the importance of this topic for the continent through the Africa Regional Initiative 1, Building Digital Economies and Fostering Innovation in Africa. This demonstrates that as ITU member states develop and decide on their priorities for the next cycle of work, which will span from 2022 to 26, fostering digital industries and innovation ecosystems are at the forefront, particularly in Africa. The theme of this challenge, Best Ecosystem Practices in Africa, Enabling Youth ICT Innovation, is more than timely and is welcome, as youth are the group that will sustain the innovation and the digital transformation in the region now and in the future. Without an enabling environment, though, without an ecosystem that nurtures and fosters innovation, those youth innovators would not be able to thrive. So ITU is pleased to partner with ATU on this 2021 edition of Innovation Challenges, as it's in line with our vision for the inclusion of youth in digital transformation and with our youth strategy. That strategy is centered on the goal of a world where every young person is connected, benefits from the digital economy and digital transformation, and is fully empowered through access to and use of ICTs. Ladies and gentlemen, digital technologies have shown great potential in allowing countries to mitigate and recover from, as well as prevent pandemics and other disasters. As we all know, they have been essential in seeing the entire world through this COVID-19 pandemic, and it is now clear that economic recovery and resilience in the new normal will be achieved through the power of digital transformation. We are looking forward to inviting the winners of the second ATU Innovation Challenge to the upcoming bootcamp, where they will be able to network and connect with winners of the ITU Innovation Challenges. We're also looking forward to these winners sharing their stories and their opportunities to transform their communities at the upcoming ITU 2021 Global Innovation Forum. I'm excited to learn in today's session and those to come more about the brilliant innovations from our youth in Africa and across the globe. ITU stands ready to accompany all your youth in building, enabling digital innovation ecosystems wherever you may be. Ladies and gentlemen, collaboration, partnerships across and among public and private sectors, and application of best practices are key to the success of a digital future. ITU is happy to partner with ATU and other members and collaborators on this initiative, Huawei Intel, with the aim to accelerate achievement of the SDGs through ICTs and innovation. I take this opportunity on behalf of the BDT Director to thank John Omo, the ATU Secretary General, his staff, and all of those who've contributed to make this innovation a success. With that, I look forward to our rewarding collaboration and wish you all a rich and fruitful innovation challenge. Thank you, John, and back to you.
Thank you very much, Steve, for those useful comments. We do very much appreciate the collaboration that we have with the ITU in this regard, and look forward to opportunities such as the bootcamp that you have promised to offer to the winners, so that together with what you yourself is organizing, the winners can have that facility together. Allow me now to request Mr. Chen of Huawei to give his remarks. Mr. Chen, okay, over to you.
Yeah, and dear Mr. John Omo, the Secretary General of ATU, and Honorable Mr. Dr. Peya Maslinga, Minister of Information and Communication Technology in Namibia, and Mr. Stephen Bevel, Deputy to the Director of ATU Development Bureau. Dear guests, good morning. And my name is Samuel Chen, the Vice President of Huawei Southern Africa region. And I'm delighted to speak with you today. And we all know that despite the great progress, there still remain many challenges in existing broadband infrastructure in African regions. And both fixed networks and mobile networks, we also know that infrastructure alone is not enough, as users require the skills, devices, and importantly, relevant applications and services. With this, they can really benefit. Innovation is very important across all these areas. And many of you joined today will know Huawei for our innovation in broadband infrastructure over 20 years. We have been in Africa working for 20 years. And our leadership in 5G, we are the leading provider and the leading holder patents. We also have innovative low-cost solutions for remote areas. The Rooster has been deployed in over 50 countries and connected more than 40 million people. We are currently building more than 2,000 sites in Ghana alone. These innovations include design of the pole, the solar, and the battery power hardware and management software, the low power and the low cost active network elements, and in using LTE for backhaul. We have also focused on the innovation in digital power to lower costs and contribute to the lower carbon and green energy networks, and innovations for fixed networks such as airport solutions to support operators to roll out optical fiber much quicker and cost-efficient way, enabling them to roll out the carriers and more areas. We contribute to the keep innovation in software. We support our customer achieve business success through our fintech technologies, including mobile payment and mobile money. Open API that enable whole ecosystem and new innovations. And last Wednesday, we launched self-development operating system for mobile phones, Huawei Harmony operating system, to build a large enough ecosystem of software developers to apply for. Last year, we are provide title sponsors for ATU Innovation Challenge, and I'm delighted to announce that we will do so again this year. We are committed to supporting innovation in Africa region by Africa for Africans. We are delighted that this year, the challenges will focus on supporting ecosystem rather than innovation themselves. The role of incubators in supporting local innovation and in policy making in developing policies that encourage innovation is critical in ultimately developing the life-changing digital services in digital economy. We are delighted to supporting this with funding, technology support, and in-kind support. We believe ATU is a strong partner and then can help through these government networks, as well as partners such as ourselves and ITU. We commend the ITU for initiating this competition, and we are committed not only supporting the prize, but also seeing how we can help winners further. In recent years, we have signed agreement with over 480 universities in Africa region to establish the ATU academics. We are also working with many local incubators and businesses to give them the skills and technologies to grow. Huawei Cloud is now the major player in the Africa region. Huawei is very committed to the Africa and committed to bring digital life to every person, home, and organizations. We look forward to work with our partners at the ATU alongside governments, operators, NGOs, startups, and all stakeholders to do this. We want to help each country with our digital development by sharing experience for around the world and our expertise networks, policies, spectrums, management. Let's work together to speed up the progress towards a digital economy, a better world that will be benefit for all of us. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chen, for your very useful remarks. Once more, as I've mentioned before, Huawei has proved that it is the partner, the real and true partner for Africa's innovation. And we do appreciate the support that we have received so far, and those that are promised, including, mentorships, internships, and knowledge support, including cloud hosting of some of the ideas that will come through. So we thank you very much for your remarks and for the facilities that you'll be putting at our disposal in this regard. Allow me to recognize our other sponsor, Intel Corporation, and invite the Government and Policy Director for Africa, Dr. Soglo, to offer his remarks. Dr. Soglo, over to you.
Thank you very much, Secretary General. Good morning. I hope you can hear me.
Yes,
I have a presentation that I would like to share. Just a minute. Okay. Great. Please, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
Okay, great. Your Excellency, Chief Guest, Honorable Dr. Pia Mushilenga, Minister of Information and Communication Technology of the Republic of Namibia, Mr. Stefan Bureau, Deputy Director of the ITU Telecommunication Development Bureau, Mr. John Omo, Secretary General of ATU, distinguished guests, distinguished participants, all protocol observed. My name is Bienvenu Abuponto Soglo, and I am the Government and Policy Director for Africa at Intel Corporation. It is an honor for me to have the opportunity to give my remarks at this launch event of the ATU Africa Innovation Challenge 2021 under the theme Best Ecosystem Practices in Africa Enabling Youth ICT Innovation. My presentation is on how Intel is making technology fully inclusive and expand digital readiness to enable innovation. First of all, I would like to give a brief introduction to Intel that you certainly know. We are headquartered in Santa Clara in California and was founded around 53 years ago. And currently we have around 110,000 employees worldwide. At Intel, our purpose is to create world-changing technology that enriches the lives of every person on Earth. Intel put silicon in the Silicon Valley, and today we are applying our reach, scale, and resources to deliver on bold goals. Today, we are in an area of distributed intelligence where all that data that are generated by retail stores, hospitals, manufacturing plants, and even automobile must be moved, stored, and processed faster and more securely than ever before. That is why Intel is investing in what our CEO called the 4 superpower, which are the cloud, 5G and broadband connectivity, artificial intelligence, the intelligent and autonomous edge to help our customers capitalize on these fastest growing opportunities. As we look ahead to the next decade, our ambitions and opportunities have never been greater to unleash the power of data and help advance integrated corporate responsibility strategies in which companies use collaborative models to drive increased value creation and societal impact. That is why we launched our new RISE strategy and 2030 goals. Through this strategy, we strive to create a more responsible, inclusive, and sustainable future enabled through our technology and the expertise and passion of our employees. In our RISE strategy, as I said earlier, we are looking at making technology fully inclusive and expand digital readiness. Now, with COVID and the new normal, we have seen in one hand a decline in overall global GDP, which is at around 3.3% in 2020, and 3 times stimulus relief for COVID than spent on Great Recession worldwide. At the same time, we are seeing 10.4% growth in global spending on digital transformation in COVID, and around 14% growth in public sector spending on digital transformation. Therefore, with COVID and the new normal, digital transformation is key to supporting economic activity and well-being during the crisis, as well as in sustaining economic recovery and spur innovation. Emerging technologies, as I talked about earlier, such as artificial intelligence, 5G, and the Internet of Things, will add roughly around $36 trillion to the global economy by 2030. Furthermore, a study conducted by Gartner indicated that 80% of public leaders say they are behind private sector capabilities in terms of digital transformation. Another study conducted by Deloitte revealed that, number one, only 26% of leaders say organization has sufficient skill to execute digital strategy. And secondly, only 32% believe leadership has sufficient digital skills. Therefore, it is critical to develop capacity building programs on emerging technologies critical to digital transformation to empower government leaders who are responsible for designing, developing, and deploying emerging technology-based solutions to drive informed policymaking, foster growth of the digital economy, and enable youth ICT innovation. That is why Intel developed the Digital Readiness for Leaders program to empower and build the capacity of government leaders on emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence, the Internet of Things, 5G, and cybersecurity with Intel. This program encompasses the skills, which means that it will enable government leaders to gain an understanding, acquire technical and social capabilities of emerging technologies. Plus, number two, the trust, help government leaders to build deep confidence in emerging tech in areas such as ethics and responsibility, for example. And number three, enable government leaders to understand the potential and limitations of emerging technologies, and that will allow them to integrate emerging technologies for better productivity and efficiency. And all of this will help broader socioeconomic benefit as well as spur innovation. In addition, Intel also aims to partner with 30 governments and 30,000 institutions worldwide, including in Africa, to empower more than 30 million people with AI skills training for current and future jobs. The Intel AI for Youth program aims to empower students to learn while creating their own social impact projects. The goal of the program is to empower youth with AI skills in an inclusive way. The public sector cannot afford to lag in its digital transformation. By investing in digital readiness for government leaders as a starting point, governments can unlock new growth opportunities by adopting a range of emerging technologies that are essential to enable youth ICT innovation in Africa. We look forward to work with ATU, the ITU, and all the partners of the Africa Innovation Challenge 2021 to enable youth ICT innovation on the continent. As our co-founder, Rob Noyes said, let's go and do something wonderful. Thank you very much. Back to you, SJ.
Thank you very much, Dr. Soglo, for sharing your thoughts with us, especially on the activities that the Intel Corporation is undertaking in the space of innovation. And we do look forward to once again working with Intel to see that this year's edition that focuses on ecosystem is successful. Thank you very much for your useful comments. Allow me at this point to now recognize and invite the Honorable Minister for ICT of the Republic of Namibia, Dr. Peya Muffelenga, to address this gathering and give his keynote, which will then, launch the innovation challenge. Honorable Minister, sir, welcome aboard, and you are free to deliver your remarks.
Thank you very much. Yeah, Secretary General of the ATU, Mr. John Omo, IT Deputy Director, Telecommunications Development Bureau, Mr. Stephen Bro, the title sponsor, Mr. Shen, who is the Vice President of Huawei Southern Africa region, and the gold sponsor, Dr. Soglo, and gentlemen. It gives me great pleasure to be here today to address you and join you in marking this milestone. This is no ordinary day, but a significant day which we should appreciate the symbolism of this event, particularly for what it envisions for our continent. Vision has always been a principal part of initiating and greasing forward momentum. This is true for every society that welcomes the value of organization. I believe that when such societies are counted, Africa's position does remain intact. In our pursuit of the future, we desire for ourselves. Sometimes we are provided with tools necessary for the journey, and other times we have to start from the very beginning. ATU, ITU, Huawei, Intel, and other partners, which has given rise to the ATU Africa Innovation Challenge 1. It's a tool delivered in our hands. For that reason, I will be surprised if we as a continent fail to see this opportunity through the same lens. Many African countries are abundantly endowed with natural resources such as minerals, oil resources, food, agriculture, among others. It remains an easy history why, despite all these massive endowments, underdevelopment continues to define many of our nations. This is not a unique situation to the areas I made reference to. It is possible that tomorrow, when we review our actions today, we could look back and challenge for our young innovators. That is a strategy that we should avoid at all costs. Innovation is a must. Iranian academics Hamid Toidi, Mohammad Jabari, in their discourse entitled The Importance of Innovation and Its Crucial Role in Growth, state that, and I quote, "Innovation is a success key in organizations. Every company should have innovation process from creation to playing. When a product enters growth step, a change in product for supplying to market because other companies have reached the technology for producing." End of quotation. Eliminating poverty, suffering, and out of social security in Africa has to start from somewhere. It is my considered opinion that it must be a slow start, but a radical one. Doing nothing new is easy. Or doing something new is easy, especially because templates can always be followed to the letter. Innovation, however, has always been an upstart, a stimulant that activates our individual and collective thinking. Today, we play host to many problems that are hurtful to both our social and economic fabric. Our infrastructure, educational systems, health facilities, industries, and many other sectors are in hospital in need of urgent attention. It cannot be a function of operational normalcy to resuscitate these sectors, and neither can it be the responsibility of the aging population whose ideas have already undergone experiment. But our young people must come out of their woods for their sleeves and head straight to work. This is our best chance at forward momentum. The challenge from where I stand has always been the lack of resources for youth to facilitate their emergence from their brackets that too hide the African brain. This is a cry that has traveled down generations and which we are prepared to stop in our time. Gladly, we have the hands of ATU and ITU to hold onto, even as we look towards putting together a formidable alliance with like-minded stakeholders for our journey forward. It is my conviction that since generating sustainable economic growth in Africa remains one of the most pressing challenges to development, we must start to see that ICT is an important factor in Africa's socio-economic growth. Just as we re-engineer ourselves in other sectors, we must find ways to ensure that ICT innovations are designed to respond to the challenge we are facing as a society. Of course, in doing so, it should never be lost to us that digital innovation is cross-sectoral and has the potential to develop quickly and feed innovation into less developed sectors. If we must remain competitive on the international stage, our willingness and ability to innovate is critical. Innovation is a complex process incorporating investment, education, community building, cultural change, economic factors, and chance. In between all these factors are individuals either going too far off the track alone or too far to nowhere on their own. If they find themselves and find each other, then we can all possibly find what we are all looking for. Reflecting on innovation as a subject that I understand ATU and ITU member states to be so particular about, I appreciate three contributions it always somehow, somewhere finds a way to elevate. That is, improve public services through innovative solutions, room for government, civil society, and the private sector to work together. And now, its potential to provoke business to develop ICT solutions and compete on a global scale by creating jobs, wealth, and economic growth. Therefore, as ATU Africa Innovation Challenge 2021 is set in motion, I urge us to be as supportive as possible to the process and outcomes that it comes with. Many times we lack the opportunity to own and be proud of something as Africa's own majority because as a result of nationalism, we are often reminded of our loyalty to our own individual nations. This challenge, however, is something to be proud of, and it must be upon us to ensure its continuity down many generations after ourselves. Ladies and gentlemen, as I conclude, I'm happy to share with you my excitement and the multinational and cross-continent interest in this challenge. It is delightful to see the International Telecommunications Union here, and of course, the same goes for Huawei and Intel. Truly, there can never be better affirmation of the concept of Africa, of this challenge, other than the level of partnership it has attracted. Our coming together is emblematic, giving us an idea of how we can set out to accomplish what needs to be done today. Let us own and popularize the ATU Africa Innovation Challenge 2021, and let us make it an unstoppable force. I thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister, for your kind words. In particular, I like the quotation that doing nothing new or staying where you are is easy. Certainly, generating sustainable development in Africa is something that we need to think about seriously, and the place of ICT and innovation in that process is one that you've underscored. The cross-sectoral nature of ICT, the interdisciplinary nature, so that we integrate our process with ministries of health, agriculture, education, and all else. and the need for all stakeholders in Africa to support what is homegrown and ensure its continuity. So I want to thank you very much, Honorable Minister, for sparing your time to be with us and to launch this challenge. We'll like now to get on to a short video, at least if it can be up, a short video to unveil the challenge of the ATU Innovation Challenge 2021.
Are you implementing an idea that is enabling the growth of ICT innovations? What exactly is that idea? Together with our partners, the ATU Africa Innovation Challenge 2021, in collaboration with ITU, invites you to submit your entry. If you are an organization or institution that has developed and is implementing a practice that has created an enabling environment for youth ICT innovation to thrive, we are looking for you. The winner will receive $10,000 and their practice will be recognized as the best. Whisper this information to all African regulatory authorities, entrepreneurial support organizations, incubators, accelerators, or any institution such as the college or university next to you, because this competition is looking for them. Terms and conditions apply. For more information, log into the ATU website www.atuuat.africa.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Alice, for the video to unveil the challenge. Now we have a brief session for question and answer. If any of our audience has a question, maybe to our speakers today, we would be glad to take those questions. You can raise your hand. You can raise your hand, and we'll be able to recognize you, or a comment for that matter. Maybe a question to the Honorable Minister, any of our speakers this morning. Alice, are you seeing any?
No, SG, I'm looking.
All right.
But as we wait for the questions, SG, can I request that we take a few minutes just to put on our videos for a photo session?
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. Kindly, may I request all the participants here to put on their videos so that we can take a group photo.
Honorable Minister, if your video can be on for just a few minutes before. Thank you very much, sir. Are we done?
Just 1 second. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, if there are no questions or comments, any question or comment from the chat?
Yeah, I see one question from Musa Adamu.
Okay, Musa, please go on. Musa?
Hi, everybody. Bonjour. I will try to switch in French because
Oui, continuez, s'il vous plaît.
I'm from a French-speaking country.
Musa, go on.
Ok. Bonjour à tout le monde. Merci vraiment à l'invitation. Cela nous va droit au cœur. Mon nom, c'est Adamou Moussa Saleh. Je suis le directeur général de l'École supérieure multinationale de télécommunications basée à Dakar, au Sénégal. Je pense que ce sujet est d'actualité. Nous, les écoles, les États qui nous ont créés, ils nous ont donné un seul challenge, c'est comment créer de la valeur pour apporter et surtout accompagner nos populations dans les secteurs traditionnels que sont l'agriculture, l'artisanat, l'élevage, pour les mettre à niveau aujourd'hui que nous sommes en 2021. Et cela ne peut se faire qu'à travers les technologies de l'information et de la communication. Et lorsque nous savons que ce challenge a été porté au plus haut niveau, au niveau de l'UAT, avec des partenaires qui les accompagnent comme Huawei, je pense que cela ne peut que nous motiver dans notre dynamique de booster les services à valeur ajoutée. Nous sommes une institution de formation qui accompagne beaucoup de pays francophones. Nous avons déjà mis en place le socle technique pour accompagner d'abord les étudiants en formation initiale, les États à travers les administrations que sont les ministères et les régulateurs, par des formations de très haut niveau sur les secteurs de base et surtout les secteurs à forte valeur ajoutée, intelligence artificielle, le big data, les data science, la 5G, pour ne citer que cela, parce que c'est par cela que passe l'innovation. Donc, je ne peux que vous remercier. C'est un appel que nous lançons parce que nous profitons de cette occasion pour demander davantage votre accompagnement, votre soutien. Je sais que le grand frère John Omo nous a toujours soutenus à travers des formations qu'on nous confie et nous souhaiterons encore davantage parce que c'est ça qui nous permettra de jouer notre rôle dans notre écosystème et surtout accompagner notre population. Comme disait un grand savant, l'Afrique a raté la révolution industrielle, mais nous n'avons pas de raison à rater la révolution numérique. Parce qu'il y a tous les talents en Afrique, il y a toutes les compétences et le digital a facilité les choses. Donc, je profite de l'occasion pour vous remercier. C'est ce message que je voulais partager avec vous et surtout un appel au soutien à toutes les institutions comme nous, Centre d'excellence de l'UIT, de l'IOMOA, pour ne citer que cela, à nous aider à œuvrer dans le bon sens. Je vous remercie.
Thank you, Musa, for your kind comments. Let me recognize Amr Safwat from Egypt. Amr?
Yes, thank you so much, Mr. SG, and a very good morning to everyone. Honorable Minister of ICT of Namibia, my brother and dear colleague, Mr. John Omo, friends and colleagues from Huawei Intel ITU. Ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to everyone. I wish in the beginning to thank so much Mr. John Omo and his capable team of the ATU Secretariat for being so vigilant about the importance of keeping the momentum of this challenge for the second consecutive year. Last year, when we heard the news and we got the letter, the formal letter to participate in this challenge, actually in the beginning, we were so much appreciating and happy about it because this time really the youth in Africa and the innovators and all those talents, the young talents, they should be recognized. I wish to thank so much all the partners of ATU such as Huawei, Intel, and ITU for sure. ITU like our bigger brother. That who participated last year and who were able to make it this year as well, to participate and to allocate a bunch of the resources in order to encourage this challenge. So my question, Mr. John Omo, it has to do with the theme of the challenge this year. When I first heard the theme, the title of the challenge, that has to do with the ecosystem, the best practices of ecosystems in order to encourage the ICT, the youth, and the innovation, the innovative talents that the youth have in Africa. So when you talk about ecosystems, the first thing that came to my mind is that contest for the policymakers or it's for the youth? Because the ones who create the ecosystem are the policymakers and the regulators, the ministries, but the youth are the ones who benefit from the ecosystem. Of course, they're part of it, but they don't have the power in order to impact the ecosystem. So it always comes the other way around. It always starts by the governments, by the policymakers, by the regulators. So if you can just like emphasize on that issue and like elaborate, I'm sure I know it's targeted to the youth, but when the youth hear and know about this title, they could think that this is targeted to policymakers, not to them. So if you can just like elaborate on that matter, and thank you so much for giving the floor.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Amar. Is there any other so that we take the questions at one go or a comment? So we don't keep the Honorable Minister here for very long. Any other? Did I see Dr. Soglo? You have a question?
Hello, I wanted to provide a comment, but I'll leave others first.
Okay, we'll take the question. We'll respond to the question. Yes, I'll ask Mohammed Ba to assist me to deal with the question. But indeed, Amar, you're right that we are looking at the ecosystem that facilitates youth innovation. And indeed, the ecosystem can and does involve either policymakers, regulators, the private sector itself, training institutions such as the one we just heard from in Senegal. So these institutions that have created an ecosystem that have enabled the youth to thrive in their innovativeness. So if you have an ecosystem, either as a private sector organization, either as a policymaker, either as a regulator, or an ecosystem involving the youth themselves or created by the youth themselves, then that would be eligible for entry. But let me ask Mohammed, if you are hearing me, to just expound on this a little bit. Mohammed?
Yes, thank you, John. I don't know if you can hear me well, but
go ahead, Mohammed.
Okay, thank you, Amar, for these questions. It's actually indeed an interesting question. It's something that we had to think about because we said this year we wanted to do things slightly differently. We did not just want to look for the innovators because I think there's so many competition out there just looking for the innovators. They get prizes. And we wanted, and this is also part of the postmortem we got last year, which is to say, how can we have even bigger impact? So the way to think about it was to say, okay, the challenge will be looking for the people who support the youth, the best practices, because we want to recognize those best practices. We want to help scale those best practices. But if you notice in the detail of the challenge also, we are looking for not only those people with the practices, but we're also looking for innovators that they have helped so that we can actually recognize both. So it has both elements, Amar, and this is actually the innovation in this year's challenge in a way. Maybe Alice can add more to it, but the team had a long discussion to see where is the sweet spot to do this, right? Do we look for the policymakers, the ecosystem builders, all those people, or do we look for the young people? So we wanted to actually do both in a sense. And hopefully we will reach both targets.
Thank you, Mohammed, for the question. Any other question? Right. If there's none, then we'll. I think Dr. Soglo wanted to make a comment. Dr. Soglo.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Secretary General. I hope you can hear me. Hello.
Yes, we can proceed, please.
Okay. Okay. Great. So was in fact when I was listening to the DG of ESMT based in Dakar, Senegal, that I wanted to share with him and the participant that in fact there are a lot of work that Intel is doing on the continent, and that also includes to look at potential research topic, working with research institutions such as his institution. And so we look forward to working with them, in specific areas, as I mentioned in my presentation. On top of that, to provide additional understanding of when we saw the theme. And then as I said during my presentation, we believe that it is important to build the capacity of policymakers as well, for them to be to make informed decisions in policy making, and that will help the innovators of help formulate policies that will spur innovation. So I think those are the two elements that I would like to comment on. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Soglo, for the comment. Madame Miriam, did you want to say something?
No, it's okay. About the challenge itself.
Yes.
Yeah, just to give a clarification to Mr. Amar, that of course we need to for this challenge to involve as much as possible the ecosystem, the incubators, and really to recognize the this ecosystem as a key enabler for the that will help young innovators to improve and to have a best condition to innovate and really to be involved in the innovation ecosystem. Thank you, Ajay.
Thank you very much, Madame Miriam. Thank you very much, participants, for being here and for the questions or comments that have come through. Once again, I want to acknowledge how grateful we are as an institution that works for Africans based in Africa, for the support that we continuously receive from you when we call upon you to attend some of these events. This year, we want to have this a lot more, with a lot more impact in the innovation ecosystem, and hence the choice of the theme and the competition. And so we also depend upon you, want to depend upon you quite a bit to sensitize the institutions that have created ecosystems for youth innovation in your respective countries, in your respective organizations, in your respective educational institutions or governments, so that you encourage them to kindly, share with us their ideas, which can then be entered into the competition. We will be answering questions as and when they come, and so we do hope that we will respond to any challenges that entrants may experience in terms of when they try to get into the competition. So once again, thank you very, very much, in particular the Honorable Minister, for once again, in really under 7 months, sharing your time with us. We really do appreciate you, and to everyone who has come forth, we acknowledge your presence and your valuable support, and do hope that, as was said by the Honorable Minister, will ensure the continuity of this event that is African, that is homegrown, and that is meant to support our very own. So thank you very much again for sharing your time. We do hope to see you even as we the competitors, the entrants get into the competition, and when we finally make the announcements in a few months' time from now. So Alice, unless there's any announcement.
No, SG, but all the information now is available in the website, including the application form for the innovators. Thank you very much.
All right, so encourage your participants to get into the website, fill the questions, which we would be glad to respond to. So from us, once again, thank you very much, and have the very best of the rest of the day. The meeting will close in a short while. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.